There's a lot of things with my business that I'm really, really proud of. But there's also a lot of things as a mom that I'm really proud of. And having three kids, one of the things that I am very proud of is the fact that we successfully potty trained all three of our kids before they were actually 2 years old. And it's funny because a lot of times our success and us chasing goals can make us overlook things that we've done. And in parenting, we often don't even look at the reality that like we're raising these remarkable kids. And I know that my clients, much like me, really care about being good parents and really care about being good leaders, not just in their businesses, but also in their homes. And while that can really create a lot more pressure, it also gives us this beautiful opportunity to rewrite things that we were taught, things that we were shown, and give our kids new opportunities that maybe we didn't have. And so today, I want to talk about 5 different lessons that I learned based upon potty training. So let's get started. So, first lesson is this: there is a very fine line between micromanaging and encouraging confidence. So, when we were potty training Emmy, we were all up on her. We were in her face. We were taking her to the potty too much. We were doing all the things that we shouldn't have been doing, but it had been like 3 years since we potty trained Brooklyn, right? And so what we thought we were doing was being encouraging, was really just getting in there and being ambitious with her. What she felt was us hovering and us not giving her space and really us not trusting her. And a lot of times we do the same things as leaders. We hover over our teams, we micromanage, we ask questions over and over again that we've already gotten the answers to. We don't provide clarity from the start. And so we feel like we don't trust our teams. And if there's anything that this situation with Emmy specifically taught me, it was that if you give people clear initiatives, if you give them clear direction, if you can communicate clearly from the start and they understand that, then it's your job to trust them. And it's also your job to let them fail and learn from those things. And I think that's one of the hardest things to really grasp as a business owner, is that you want everything done right. You want it done well. You want it done on time. You want it done right. You want it done to your standard. And it's totally possible, but we still have humans working for us. And so we need to understand that humans work better when they feel confident in their work. And instilling confidence in people requires them to be self-assured. It requires building confidence, whether it's in your kids or in your team, requires you trusting them. It requires them getting in and getting dirty and feeling the effects of things and figuring things out for themselves too. And so that's lesson number 1, is there is really that fine line between encouraging confidence and micromanaging people. And what you don't want to do is push people away and create resistance by micromanaging them. What you want to do is you want to instill that confidence by trusting them, by giving them clear direction, and then letting them fly. So our next lesson here is, speaking of resistance, resistance is a sign that something's not working. Let me clarify here that there is a difference between resistance and fear. Fear will create some resistance in us because we're scared of stepping into the unknown. Actual resistance happens when something is wrong, something is not aligned. And so in potty training, we see a lot of resistance by they will hold and not go potty for like hours at a time. And I remember it being so agonizing because I'm like, I know that she has to go. Why is she not going? And both Brooklyn and Emmy did this. I know she has to go, right? But to them, they're like, this is new to me. What is the thing that I can control here? And holding their pee in was the only thing that they could control. So in those moments, They were just digging their heels in and saying, this is not going the way that I want it to. And so I'm going to control the only thing that I can. And so when we see resistance, when we're experiencing resistance within ourselves or from our teams, we need to start digging into that resistance. Is that resistance something that is coming from fear? Is it coming from a place of we are developing into something that feels uncertain or unknown because it's new? Or is that resistance actually trying to tell us something about the path that we're taking? In the case of potty training, obviously these kids have to learn how to go on the toilet. It's just how we do things here. But in the case of your business, you have more freedom to evaluate that resistance and see, are you digging your heels in because it's not right? Are you trying to follow a path that maybe somebody told you should follow that's actually not for you? Or are you just afraid because it's new? But resistance is a sign that usually something's not working. Whether it's not working because it's broken or it's not working because internally or subconsciously you don't want it to, those things can be evaluated. But if there is resistance, understand you need to evaluate that. Our third lesson, accidents are part of the process. There's probably nothing more frustrating than when you potty train and you're like, they got it. Yes, this is it. And then they pee their pants. And you're like, man, what did I do wrong? But after potty training 3 times, I came to a place of acceptance of, well, they just learned this. It's a new skill. They peed their pants and now they know what it feels like to have wet pants, which they usually don't like. And so in the case of our businesses, having the expectation that we will never fail, having the expectation that we will never fall, having the expectation of perfection usually sets us up to fail. It sets us up to feel hopeless and defeated. Versus if we have the expectation that there will be accidents, there will be mistakes, there will be moments where things happen that we don't want to happen. If we expect that to be part of the process and even create solutions for when those possibilities do happen, because they will, we are likely to see more success. We are likely to understand that when accidents happen, when problems arise, when things are not going the way that we expected, there is some sort of lesson there. There is something that holds the key to something that we need. And usually it doesn't make sense in that moment. But if you look back to any area that you have failed in your business, anything that didn't go as planned in your business, there was likely a bunch of lessons. Whether that lesson was on a data side, whether that lesson was instilling of a new process, you likely pulled something from that problem that then allowed you to go forward and do things differently. So oftentimes we forget and we just hope that out of our own fears of how we're being seen or being perceived that, oh, there can't be any problems. But we can't avoid problems. We can't avoid accidents. Accidents are one of the greatest ways where we can see our true potential. How do we show up when there is a problem? Do we back down? Do we rise to the occasion? And so just remember that accidents are part of the process and a very important part of the process. It's how we learn, it's how we grow, and it's truly how we continue to stack our success. Our next lesson from potty training is that fun makes hard times much better. It is usually the last thing on our mind when we are frustrated, overwhelmed, and just not having a good time generally, to instill some sort of fun. It is the last thing to ask ourselves, hey, what would lighten the mood when we are stewing and spiraling in our heads? But I remember with every single kid, there was at least one day in the process to where I wanted to basically turn in my parenting title and be all done. And I wanted to quit, right? And specifically with Emmy, because she's the most recent for us, there was that same sort of day and everybody was frustrated and you could just feel the energy in our house was not good. And so in that moment, I was like, you know what? We're just going to go outside. Worst case scenario, she pees her pants. Oh well, right? And so I think, and we did, and we brought fun back in and we had music. And I can't even remember at this point if she peed her pants or not. She probably didn't, but if she did, who cares? I think that sometimes we get so caught up in the seriousness of our professionalism that we forget that life is supposed to also be light and fun. And when it comes to balancing, it's not just about balancing your time and creating work-life separation. It's also about your emotions, right? We have so many different emotions that we don't tap into. We feel frustrated, we feel overwhelmed, we feel scared. There's a lot of negative emotions, if you will, in business. And so we need to have some lighthearted moments and fun and play and laughter. These moments are so, so important for the continued longevity and success of the business, because we just can't operate in an environment all the time that feels stuffy and heavy and hard. So when things are hard, what I would really encourage you to do is think, how can I lighten this? How can I, balance this out a little bit? When you have a really hard day at work, or if you receive some hard news, of course you want to process those emotions, but also you can choose how long you want to sit in them and spiral in them, or if you want to spiral, or you can say, you know what? I'm not feeling so great. So what would make me feel better? What could I do? In our house, we are avid dance party holders. Music makes everything better. And so this potty training reminder for you is just that fun and play and laughter and saying fuck it sometimes is the best thing that you can do to keep yourself going through a hard time. And last, but definitely not least, is that consistency trumps perfection. Most of my clients are hyper independent. They are high achievers. They are people who want to check the boxes. They are people who have been conditioned to check the boxes. They are A+ students. They are smart. They are brilliant. And they are their own biggest obstacle. And this chase for perfection, this chase to exceed expectations that are unsaid, is exhausting. And so it is important for us to remember that in business and in life and in the pursuit of any sort of goals that we have, that consistency is always going to trump perfection. Perfection will lead you to procrastinate and feel like you're not enough. Consistency requires that you just show up as you are, where you are, the way that you are, and you keep doing that. And so if you are chasing perfection, that is likely holding you back. If you are chasing perfection and holding these unset expectations that are impossible to reach for yourself, whether that's from the season that you're in or the industry that you're in, frankly, it's important that you look at what's realistic for you, and not from a place of you can't exceed expectations, but from a place of, is it really necessary? Is it really necessary for you to feel like you always have to prove yourself? Is it really necessary for you to have to do things a certain way? Or is it just performative? Is it something that you are seeking the external validation and approval of others? Because when you approve of yourself, when you love yourself and you are accepting of who you are, and you know your gifts, and you know that the work that you do is good, all of that feels so unimportant. And I believe that just like potty training, if you just show up and you just keep putting them on the potty and you keep telling them where the potty goes, eventually they get it. You don't give them the diaper alternative. You take the diapers away and the potty is the option. Eventually they get it. If success is your only option, it's inevitable for you. But success can feel so much better if you focus on consistently doing good work and consistently taking care of yourself, consistently fostering what you need for yourself to be a good leader. That kind of consistency will always get you the end result that you want, while also making your journey feel much, much better. So I hope for all you moms out there that my potty training lessons have maybe made you laugh, but also made you understand that these kids are teaching us things every single day. And in order for us to be better leaders for them, we need to be better leaders for ourselves. So hopefully these lessons have struck something in you. I know that you can apply them to your business. Thank you, of course, for watching, and don't hesitate to share this video with your friends, because I know that all the 3 times of potty training that I did definitely paid off for these lessons. So thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next week.